The ramblings of a crazy person or profound spiritual insight? You be the judge on this episode of Real Life Angel Encounters. Angels, we all have them. They're our unseen guides, our companions, our teachers, and they're all around us. Sometimes they make themselves known in the most miraculous ways. Join me, Level 3 QHHT practitioner, angel communicator, and Reiki master, Christi Hoffman, with stories from real people who have experienced uplifting phenomena and real-life angel encounters. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Real Life Angel Encounters, the award-winning podcast for those who like their paranormal with a heavy dose of positivity and their spirituality with actual spirits. I am your host, Christi Hoffman, angel communicator, spiritual medium, Reiki master, and level 3 quantum healing hypnosis technique practitioner based in the beautiful Kansas City area. So happy to have you. Before we get too much further, though, I do have a few standard asks of you. Now, wherever you're listening right now, you're listening on some type of platform, please hit the notification button, the follow, subscribe, whatever it is, wherever you are listening, including YouTube, so that you are notified the next time that we have an episode out. You don't want to miss it. Next, if you would, please share this podcast in general, and this episode in particular, with your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, random people on the street. Tell everybody that you run into about Real Life Angel Encounters, the award-winning storytelling podcast about miraculous events. All right, so that out of the way, I have one more little ask of you, and that is to help us cover costs. Please pitch in. It would be so lovely of you. There is a link in the show notes to our PayPal. It's all set up to make a love offering or donation to this podcast. It just helps us keep it going. It's always going to be free to you. Whenever you want to listen to it, that is my promise to you, that it will be free for listening. Now then, I do have costs associated with producing this podcast and hosting it. And that comes out of my pocket. So a couple bucks here or there in the kitty would help a lot. So now on with the show. This week is something a little bit different. I'm always looking for people to tell their stories on the show, and I'm still looking for people who are willing to share their stories and record them with me. But I do have some stories off of the interwebs that I think are very interesting. You never know what you find out there. But first of all, I've got a story from the Real Life Angel Encounters Facebook group. Yes, we have a Facebook group where you can connect with other believers, people who listen and follow the show, and talk about your own angel experiences. This is from a new participant in the group, a new group member in Real Life Angel Encounters. This is Veron Lee, and she is a francophone, a French speaker. So I just love it when international people weigh in and send in their stories. It's not just an American phenomenon. It is worldwide. So Veron says, "Hi, I don't know where to start, but I'll try. I met a lady wearing white with some gold numbers on her handbag and her hat and clothes and gold words on her dress, and I kept seeing her many times in different places in less than 2 weeks." Oof. And she was asking me questions and was telling me really unexpected things. She was really nice to me, and I don't even have any word for the feelings I had talking with her. But to be honest, I was curious, but kind of scared, yes. So I'm really wondering what I should think about it. It's the first time I'm experiencing something like this. English is not my first language, so I had a hard time to understand and remember everything that she was saying. And Ron says, French is my first language. I speak French too. She was saying that I need to be careful with the snakes, especially the 2 white snakes, I think. And she was talking about a crown on my head that she was seeing in Europe, Egypt, and a little book she wants me to read. She was saying then, I was a mama or a mother of creation, and that I need to survive. and she was saying that I already knew the truth, etc., etc. Does she actually say something different, true, and powerful? Or does she just need help? LOL. I am just so lost in the moment. Okay, excellent question. Let me open it up to our listeners, our beautiful listeners. Please, if you're on Spotify, put it in the comment section, which is really kind of cool. YouTube as well, you can put your own thoughts in the comment section on YouTube. Otherwise, reach out at angelencounterspodcast@gmail.com and let me know what you think. I want to hear from listeners. What do you think of Ron's story? You can also join the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast group on Facebook and join the conversation. Next up, I have a story that I found online at opusangelorum.org. And this story is told by an anonymous storyteller. And I will leave a copy of the link in the show notes so that you can check out this website yourself. And this story is called Go to the Coffee Area. Anonymous writes, I had an experience in which I audibly heard the voice of my own guardian angel telling me to do something. This happened 45 years ago. I was preparing for final exams at the summer institute where I was studying Chinese. The exams would be very challenging, and I was under a lot of stress. I was alone in a language laboratory when I suddenly said, God, help me. At this point, as though in response, I heard a voice as clearly and distinctly as if someone were standing next to me, but I was alone in a cell no bigger than a closet. The voice said, Go to the coffee area. You will meet a girl and everything will be all right. Nothing like that had ever happened to me before, and at the time I had drifted somewhat from the faith, but I followed the instructions. There were a couple of girls in line for coffee, and I said hello, but no more. My roommate was sitting at a table, so I joined him and lit my pipe. I had just about decided that I was delusional and expecting anything when I saw a young girl come into the area and riveted my eyes to her. She walked to the table and asked, Do you have a light? I felt as if I were in a scene with Lauren Bacall. Every student attending this summer institute, which had different sections for various languages, signed a pledge only to speak the language that student was studying for the duration of the program. So I answered her in Chinese. She replied in French, the language she was studying. As it happened, I had been a French major, and she had spent some time studying Chinese in Hong Kong. We carried on that bilingual conversation, each of us honoring our pledge for the rest of the evening. This year, we will celebrate with our 6 grown children the 39th anniversary of our marriage and the 45th anniversary of our meeting. She eventually told me that she had come to my table because I was the only person in the shop smoking. So it hadn't been my rugged good looks that helped me towards humility. In conclusion, I believe that I owe my marriage to the instructions of my guardian angel. What a beautiful, beautiful story. As I mentioned before, I speak French. I can imagine walking up to someone who's also studying a foreign language and striking up a conversation, and how terrifying that might be, but also how cool. How cool is that? Especially since his guardian angel pointed him in that direction. You know, all we have to do is listen to that still soft voice inside our head. You never know where it is going to lead. Next up, this isn't a story, really. It's a wonderful review that I received just out of the blue. Someone contacted me at angelencounterspodcast@gmail.com and said that they were writing this review on elevatesociety.com. This is a website that I had not heard of before, but it's dedicated to letting people know about podcasts and publications and all types of different things that are going to be helpful in our spiritual lives and just in general. It's a fantastic, fantastic review, beginning with, what if the extraordinary moments people often dismiss as coincidence are actually gentle reminders that we are never truly alone? Real Life Angel Encounters, created by mindbodyspirit.fm and hosted by angel communicator Christi Clemens Hoffman, offers heartfelt conversations and true stories that invite listeners to explore the possibility of divine guidance, hope, and the unseen support in everyday life. In 2025, it won Best Storytelling Podcast at the Women in Podcasting Awards. This review, you guys, goes on to talk about what is a podcast about, all of the details, when it was created, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a little section about me, your host, core themes, podcast takeaways, podcast strengths, who podcast is for. Just so much information about this show. Please go check it out. I will put the link to this stellar review in the show notes. So please go take a look at it. And I think you're going to enjoy the words that are there. Next up, we have another story from the Real Life Angel Encounters Facebook group, this time from Wayne. Wayne says, on March 8, 1976, I was visited by an archangel who showed me 3 visions of my future. The first came true exactly as I saw it and felt it on January 1st, 1985. Ditto for the second on April 23rd, 1990. I know the third vision will happen around September 9 to 11th, 2029, and what it will mean for humanity. I wrote a book about it and would love to talk about my visions on your show. This is wonderful. So I have invited Wayne. If you're listening now, Wayne, I would love to invite you on the show to talk about all of these visions. Now, if you're listening and you heard earlier my request for your comments, please weigh in on this story as well. Have you had visions? Have you had things that have come true, premonitions? I would love to hear about it. So please do comment in all the places, YouTube, Angel Encounters Podcast at gmail.com. Send me an email, comment in the Real Life Angel Encounters Facebook group or on Spotify. I would love to hear that. These prophetic visions, I think, really grab our attention. And when they come true, just as they were told to us, you can't help but know that we are not alone. And now we have another story from opusangelorum.org, this time from a reader named Judy. Judy writes, in the early 1900s, my husband and I and our 7 children moved into a rental home quite far from where we had lived before. One day, 4 of the children and myself were returning from an outing in our family station wagon. We were traveling over the 2 large hills back home. As we were streaming down the second hill, I stopped at the bottom to make the necessary left turn toward home. Very quickly, my guardian angel said, "Look in your rearview mirror." I immediately looked in the mirror and I saw a truck barreling down the hill. My guardian angel then said, "He's not going to stop." For one quick second, I thought, what do I do? Then I heard my guardian angel say, "Get over." So I wheeled the big station wagon quickly off to the side of the road, still not realizing the full impact of what was really happening. Then, like a flash, the truck flew right past us, and the driver looked back through the window with a look of fear, probably realizing that he had almost killed us. As I sat there for a moment to catch my breath, thanksgiving started flooding from my heart for the wonderful guardian angel God had given to me. It had all happened so fast. In just a matter of seconds, I was given the 3 warnings, and the truck came flying past us. But because of the warning of my guardian angel, my children and I were safe and sound, including my young son, who is now a priest, who was sitting in the back seat with no clue as to what had just occurred. Many years ago, when our children were young, we had decided to take a summer vacation in Michigan. When we all arrived at the spacious hotel, Dad and all the boys were in one room, and Mom and all the girls were in another room. Very quickly, my guardian angel brought me to the big window that faced the back of the hotel. As I looked out, there was only a parking lot and an empty land. I then heard my guardian angel say, "Bless all you see before you." And I said, "I am not a priest. I have no power to bless." And he repeated again, "Bless all you see before you." Again, I said, "I have no power in my hands to do this." And then with a stern voice, he repeated again, "Bless all you see before you." So this time, without hesitation, I made the sign of the cross over the parking lot and the open land. Around 2 or 3 a.m., I was awakened, but very groggy, and I was taken to the window to see what looked like a man getting fishing equipment from what I had presumed was his truck. Being so tired, I turned around and went back to bed. The next morning, my children said the police are in the parking lot. Many vehicles had been robbed last night, so I decided to call down to the front desk to tell them what I had witnessed during the night. The police took the information, and within a few hours, they were able to track the man to a place he had deep in the woods that was not visible from the parking lot. Everyone's things were recovered, and our vehicle was left completely untouched. Thanks be to God and my holy guardian angel, Judy B. This is a beautiful story and reminds me so much of a story from the very first season of this podcast, Real Life Angel Encounters. And that story, Sherry was driving home late at night. She'd always been told by her dad to drive in a certain lane. We want to go in the slow lane. The other lane is for passing. And then in the middle of the night, she heard a voice in her head say, get over now. And she didn't want to because she remembered what Dad always said, but she did as she was told and avoid hitting a bicyclist who was coming from the opposite direction. So when we hear those voices in our head, we're not going crazy. It's time to do what they're telling us to do. You never know when that's going to keep us safe. So just what I always say is I pay attention to what the voices in my head are telling me. So just pay attention to the voices in your head. You will be fine. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and follow, and be sure to share this episode. The more people who know about this podcast, the more great story submissions we get. Have a story to share? Email your own real-life angel encounter to angelencounterspodcast@gmail.com or visit radiatewellnesscommunity.com/real-life angel encounters podcast. Or join our Facebook group and continue the discussion. Want to know what your angels and loved ones have to tell you? Schedule an appointment with me at radiatewellnesscommunity.com. A special thanks to James Wheeler for the original music and to Tiffany Baumgarten for the logo design.